you'd like to get a copy of the scoring model, visit our website at www.thecivilwarproject.org/home/resources. There's a free copy that you can download. It's an Excel spreadsheet, so you'll need a copy of Excel to make it work. If you enjoyed the video, be sure and smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, this is Johnny Anderson saying thanks and goodbye. Welcome to part 3 of the Guide to Researching Civil War Graves. I'm Johnny Anderson, Chief Researcher with the Civil War Project. In this video, we'll look at how to use the Civil War Project's veteran scoring model. We developed the Civil War veteran scoring model to take some of the subjectivity out of the veteran decision-making process. In our initial project, we found that we were really relying too much on the seat of our pants rather than using quantitative data to determine if an individual was a veteran or not. So we developed a scoring model that looks at 17 attributes of the individual and uses an algorithm to determine a veteran score that reflects the confidence level that the individual is a veteran. A score can fall into one of 3 areas. First, the person is not likely a veteran. Second, the person could be a veteran, but additional research is needed. Or 3, the person is confirmed as a Civil War veteran. For the purposes of the tutorial, we'll take the 3 veterans that we researched in part 2 and put them through the scoring model to see how they score. The first was John Bunyan Barclay. If you recall, John Bunyan Barclay had a Civil War headstone on his grave, so we will pick from the drop down. We'll pick yes for that. We had an Ancestry.com family tree. We knew in 1860 that he lived in Bastrop, Texas. We knew that he had looked at his 1910 census record, but it did not say that he was a veteran. So we picked a no for that attribute. There was an application from his widow for a Civil War pension, but we don't know if it was approved or not. When you look really closely at that record, it wasn't approved or disapproved, so we just don't know. And there weren't any other Civil War ancestry military records. When we looked in in Fold 3's combined military service records, we found John Bunyan Barclay when we searched for J.B. Barclay. So we found him in Fold 3, and the name match was a 3 out of 5. So this is a pop-up that shows how to rate that. So if you had a misspelling, it's a 1. If it's a first initial last name, it's a 2. First and middle initial last name, and so forth. So we had J.B. Barclay, so we rated that a 3, which is middling for a match. We only had 1 page of the record, so we don't know if his age matched, and we don't know if his muster location was close to Bastrop, Texas. We did find him in the National Park Service's Soldiers and Sailors database by doing the same search, J.B. Barclay, and he was in the same state that he lived in 1860. We didn't have any other hard copies or muster rolls to speak of. So the model ran through the algorithm and gave J.B. Barclay a score of 3250. The fact that he had a headstone was enough in and of itself to put him into the confirmed Civil War veteran. So using the analytics, we know that John Bunyan Barclay is a Civil War veteran. The next veteran that we researched was Austin Cunningham Ayton, who fought with the 77th Illinois Infantry. He did, if you recall, he did not have a military headstone, but we did have a family tree with his family tree record. We know that in 1860, in the census, he was in Peoria County, Illinois. In this case, we had an affirmative on the 1910 census. So according to the 1910 census, he was a veteran of the Union Army. We did not see in Ancestry a pension application, nor did we see any other military records. When we looked in Fold 3 for the combined military service records for the Union and Illinois, we did find Austin Cunningham Ayton with an exact name match, Austin C. Ayton. It was only one record, so we don't know if his age matched, nor do we know whether he mustered in close to Peoria County, Illinois. He also was in the National Park Service's Soldiers and Sailors database with an exact name match and his state match. So Austin C. Ayton ended with a final score of 2850, which again put him solidly in the confirmed Civil War veteran category. It was primarily due to the fact that we had two sources. We had the 1910 census and we had the combined military services record from the state of Illinois with an exact name match. And the last veteran that we researched in Part 2 was Aaron Seymour, who, born in 1839, died in 1913, and is buried in the Andes Cemetery. Again, Aaron did not have a Civil War headstone. We did find his record in Ancestry.com, but we did not have an 1860 census record. We determined from a marriage record that he was living in Williamson County, Texas, at the time the war started. We did have a 1910 census record, though, and when we looked at the 1910 census record, it says that he was a veteran of the Confederate Army. We didn't have a pension application, nor any other Ancestry.com military records. When we looked for him in Fold 3, though, we had a hard time finding him because his name had an alternate spelling that we found from Ancestry.com. And so his name was not spelled the way it is on his headstone nor in the Ancestry record. It was spelled Seymour. So we have to rate him a 1 of a match but a misspelling in the CMSR record. We had more than one card in the records, but it didn't have his age, so we couldn't verify his age. But we could verify that he joined Company D of the 30th Texas Cavalry, which was mustered, and his muster location was Georgetown, Texas, where he lived. So we gave him a proximity, yes for proximity. And the same thing for the National Park Service. He was in the National Park Services, the same spelling of his name, A. Seymour, M-O-O-R, but he did match the state. So Aaron Seymour's it came out again at 2350, which puts him solidly as a Civil War veteran, even with the misspelling, because we had more than one source. We had the CMSR, even with a low score for the name match, but we had the 1910 census, which confirmed that. If we had not had the 1910 census, let's look and see what that would have done. If we had no for 1910 census, that dropped his score down to 1350, which put him in the kind of maybe, but we need to do some more work category. So you can see that the model is very sensitive to multiple sources. as opposed to just a single source, and it's sensitive to name matching. Name matching, age matching, and location matching will drive higher scores. And if you don't have a proximity match, or the name is the age is different, then you get negative points, and you have to look at other things. So at least with multiple sources for Aaron Seymour, he was definitely a Civil War veteran. If you'd like to get a copy of the scoring model, visit our website at www.thecivilwarproject.org/home/resources, and there's a free copy that you can download. It's an Excel spreadsheet, so you'll need a copy of Excel to make it work. If you enjoyed the video, be sure and smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, this is Johnny Anderson saying thanks and goodbye.